Welcome, everyone, to What's Up Humanity, stories that open minds and hearts. I'm Andra Baylus, your host. So why not turn off the TV with its negative news and listen to people from all walks of life speak about how they've used their gifts, talents, and skills to make this a better world. This podcast is dedicated to the humanitarian philanthropist, Mohanji, who encourages each of us to bless the world as he has, with charitable organizations in over 90 countries. And also to the silent master, Meher Baba, who taught that love is contagious. We will hear today how speakers on What's Up Humanity have themselves blessed the world and done their part spreading love. Hopefully, you can catch it and spread it yourselves. May this amazing group of stories kindle your heart and inspire the greatness within you. Today's podcast is Incredible Acts of Service by ACT Foundation and ACT4UKRAINE. We welcome today the Global Ambassador of the Mohanji Foundation and Global President of ACT Foundation, the Director and Senior Instructor of the Himalayan School of Traditional Yoga, HISTI, a skilled healer in the Mai Tribe tradition, and an international speaker, a Wonder Woman, who is a multifaceted humanitarian and spiritual diplomat. Devi, I feel like I'm introducing 5 different people here. So
I'm sorry, I have so many titles. By the time you list them all out.
I know you were patient listening to yourself, weren't you? So welcome, Devi Mohan.
Thank you, Andra. It's just very, very nice to come to your program, and I'm sure that you will inspire many people with it, and I wish you all the best on this new endeavor. And I'm really happy to share everything that I have realized and experienced, and hopefully touch some people's hearts and inspire them to also do their bit in line with their own talents and ambitions. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Devi. We're so honored that you carved out space in your busy schedule to share the incredible acts of service of ACT Foundation and ACT Ukraine. But before we begin, I'd like our listeners to know a little bit more about you. So Devi Mohan is from Serbia, currently residing in Slovenia. She graduated from John Cabot University in Rome with a major in international affairs. Devi also holds a master's degree in peace studies from the prestigious Notre Dame University in the United States. Since its formation in 2007, Devi has been an integral member of the Mohanji Foundation, the international spiritual mission of her husband and spiritual guide, Mohanji. She serves as its global ambassador, conducting workshops, seminars, and festivals internationally. Devi represents the foundation at various international events and forums, from world peace-related forums such as the Parliament of World's Religions, Living Peace Projects, and Unity Earth, to nonviolent and women empowerment-related events such as Vegan India Conference, Women Emerging, and Festival of Womanhood. Devi is the director and senior instructor of the Himalayan School of Traditional Yoga and creator of transformative processes such as conscious dancing, awakening yoga, nidra, and far more. In addition to her other responsibilities, Devi serves as global president of ACT Foundation, an internationally active charity with regular humanitarian initiatives in over 23 countries. And that's the reason why I invited her today. So through her inspirational speeches and workshops, she aims to touch the hearts of people and serve the cause of peace through active expression of love and the expansion of consciousness. We're so honored to have you with us today on What's Up Humanity, Devi Mohan. Devi, your schooling and all your activities since then have been geared towards raising consciousness of humanity. So I think people would like to know what in your background, not mentioned in this bio, made you so passionate about serving the cause of peace and selfless service.
Yeah, in short, it was, first of all, my life experience. We had a war in former Yugoslavia, and at some point, I honestly didn't know whether I was going to make it or not. There were really tough moments of life. And, you know, sometimes you pray so deeply, sometimes you connect to yourself so deeply that those thoughts kind of manifest your reality. So one of them was, for me, the moment was to come out of the role of a victim, you know, because as a refugee, I entered into a very depressive, dark state of victimhood, loss of will to do anything. And I'm now writing my autobiography, so I'm going to be diving deeper into that subject for all people who have found themselves in that space, whether for the purpose of, whether that was caused by some external circumstance, like in my case, where we lost our home and, you know, income and any form of safety, and lost everything and found ourselves helpless. Some people go through different challenges, but somehow enter into that space of feeling that they are victims of life, you know. So to come out of that, there was a moment of grace where I realized my own willpower, when I realized that I need not identify with the role of the victim. And the way out for me was education. And I promised myself I would study hard. So that was, and I also promised that if I ever normalize my life and financial situation again, I will be the one who helps others. I will be the one who serves. You know, so that commitment to social service started at the age of 14 when I was a refugee. And I was really blessed with like $80,000 in scholarships, I just won them by opening my heart and writing applications for scholarships. I did not have any connection or anybody powerful behind me who would recommend me or anything like that. It was just divine grace, really, that I could tap into that space of the heart where we manifest, you know. And I tell this to all people, like, you have no idea how powerful your heart is. So for me, heart is that space where life really gets its meaning, and how deeply we connect with our heart and express our love unconditionally. This shows our stability, our spiritual maturity, and our understanding of the gift of life. Because only when you really use that, life gets its real juice and becomes so beautiful. So for me, it was the chance that I got, the blessings I got, education, stability. Now it was time to give back. You know, after I graduated from Notre Dame, I did not want to get into a stable job where you just work for the money. I was eager to go to India. I was eager to expand myself through awareness and yoga and breathing techniques, meditation, kriya. So I got a job in Dubai, and it was just to come close to India, because Dubai, you have like an hour and a half by airplane and you're in India. So that's why I was there. That was kind of strategic decision. And I just got any job like office manager or something, but I wanted to be there nearby. And sure enough, I found immediately some courses and spiritual masters of visiting. Dubai is really rich in so many options, you know. And at that point in my life, I looked for opportunities to serve. Now, what I noticed is that sometimes you have these big organizations where you don't get to really feel the beauty of service, because you're just one little member in a sea of people and you press the button, send money. That was not the way I imagined my social service. I wanted it to be hands-on. I wanted to have to be in a team of dedicated people who are in this with all their heart and soul, and to have direct communication and meeting with the recipients of aid, with people whom we are supporting. So with that wish in my mind, I spoke with one Indian gentleman in my office. I was working in one Australian company at the time. And he said, I know Mohan, you know, he has a ACT4UKRAINE charitable trust. This ACT4UKRAINE is really nice. There's only like 10 people right now, but they do amazing work. They do work for 1,000 people, you know, because they're so dedicated. And I was like, yes, that's it. You know, that's what I want.
I must say that hearing about the life that you had that gave you the passion, you know, for selfless service was really quite powerful. How you changed that entire energy of suffering. It touched your heart so that it opened you up to the feelings and sensitivities of others and wanting to give back. So I'm so happy you met the philanthropist, humanitarian, Mohanji, who obviously changed your life and brought you into an entirely different world of completely thinking about others beyond self. Please explain that. I think it's important for our listeners to hear.
Mohanji, you know, is the founder of ACT4UKRAINE, and this is where I was destined to meet Mohanji as well, and I was really not in a mode of looking for a boyfriend or husband at that point in time. I was simply wanted to serve, you know. And I've noticed that whenever I did any social service projects, the friendships I made there, the experiences I had there, and contacts I got and experiences I got, they totally changed my life and enhanced me in every possible way. So I always tell people, no matter what you do, just use any possible opportunity to serve, because your life changes. You know, this is probably the only thing we can do to change that heavy load that we carry, the feeling that we have sometimes that life becomes heavy, that we get overwhelmed. Well, if you serve, you will never have that feeling. You know, you will shift very quickly into the feeling of lightness and the feeling that you actually have everything, you know, because our reality is just a reflection of what we radiate. And we radiate not only that, what we are aware of with a conscious mind, but also what is in the subconscious, right? So the more you serve, the energy you radiate out of yourself changes to higher frequency, and your reality changes. This is my direct experience. And whenever I was in the illusion of lack of anything, if I would do social service, I would come out of that illusion. And I would never feel that I lack anything. Even if I don't have a job at that moment, I would enter into the energy of love and abundance, you know. So this is something that's really, really fascinating. Later on, after I met Mohanji, he said there are only two ways you can change your reality. One is to do social service, meaning expressing selflessness and unconditional love without expecting anything in return, even applause, award, appreciation, nothing, just give. And second is to enter into the state of no thoughts, which is very difficult for people. So most people will find it easier to just do social service. But I've also noticed that there's a link between the two, because when you serve, your energy centers, your chakras expand, your aura expands. And when you sit to meditate, you feel so much more connected, because you shift from that focus on yourself and what you lack into that interconnectedness with all life, with the life force energy, with all life, and you move beyond the ego so much more easier. So your meditation is deeper, so it's all connected one with the other. So social service brought me to Mohanji, and meeting Mohanji changed my life. So
I can see
I wonder
that.
if I would have met him if I didn't want to serve, So
I can see that. He just, I feel that energy, that expansiveness. And I must say that hearing about the life that you had that gave you the passion, for selfless service. So Devi, I know that sometimes there are tragedies, things like you suffered in the past, and I'm so sorry about that, I must say. But sometimes it changes the course of our lives. And so sometimes good happens from these particular challenging times. And so there was a tragedy, I understand that it happened, that was that paved the way for the charities that you work with so deeply now. Could you please explain that? I know it may be a little painful for you to talk about, but I think it's important for our listeners to hear.
In the year 2000, Mohanji lost his daughter Amu. I was in Kosovo working for United Nations, and I had a near-death experience in the same year. And then 7 years later, Mohanji and I met. And for me, this was experience that really defined me. When you leave your body and come back, your whole perspective on life changes. So I was sent back. I was told it was not my time yet. I have not fulfilled my mission. And my mission is to serve the unity. So that's a very powerful statement, and also take some time to contemplate on what that truly means. Mohanji, on the other hand, at that time lost his daughter. She was run over by a truck, and at the age of 4. And it is her, I'm just gonna show her image, her photo. This is Amu.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
How old was she there, Devi?
This was just, he said 3-4 days before she got killed.
Oh my God.
This was her last photo.
She was what, 4 years old?
4.5, yeah.
4.5, amazing. So sorry.
And and she, he had a very deep connection with Amu. She was giving a lot of wise statements for her age. She was very spiritually aligned, and it was just one of those special souls. So when she was just suddenly taken away from Mohanji, that created a very deep vacuum inside. And he said, at this point, some people go into escapism, like they want to dull the pain, so they choose alcohol, drugs, or any form of denial. There are different ways in which you want to run away. And he, on the other hand, he consciously chose to find out the meaning of this experience and to look deep into the journey of the soul and the ultimate purpose, So he started digging very deep and meditating and traveling to Himalayas, and he found the vibration in the Himalayas to be so supportive of that deep plunge within, So he used to go, especially one cave called Vashishta Cave, in the area of Rishikesh, which is like the doorway to Himalayas, like the very entry point to the Himalayan mountains. And he used to go there and meditate and go dive into the Ganges River and take a dip and meditate in the cave, and then travel further in Himalayas. And then he started meeting some saints and masters, and over time he started to meditate more and more and more. And he was working as a CEO in a shipping company, so very responsible position in the corporate world. And at the same time, he would be meditating from like 3 a.m. till he goes to office like 7 a.m. or something every night. And this really helped him. And one saint whom he met told him that to come out of the pain of loss of your child, if you give it a purpose, if in her name you feed the hungry people and children of the world and support them, in the honor of her soul, you will have eternal peace. And it's really touching, and it really is true that you can give higher meaning to your painful experience, and you can shift from pain to purpose. This is what Mohanji proved with his life. So that very intention with which he started, Amu was her name, so Amu Care. And then it became Amu Care Charitable Trust. Acronym is ACT, or ACT, like an act of kindness. So we call it now ACT Foundation. So when I met Mohanji, we started kind of joining forces in this. I offered my support and with write-ups, with different activities. And over time, Amu Care remained within India, but I became the president of ACT Foundation globally. And now we are registered and active in 23 countries. And it keeps expanding. It's run by volunteers. We don't have any membership fees. We don't have any admin charges. It's purely charity, and everybody joins in because they're inspired, you know. So that energy with which he started this charitable organization is what, and probably the blessings of little Amu, who is like our angel. We know we do all this in her honor, and you know, when you look into eyes of a child, you see the universe. You know, you feel like this is that purity, with that love, with that purity we serve. So it's been really touching. You can see this is the photo and this is the logo.
Yeah, you know, I noticed that logo actually uses the very picture of Amu.
Yeah, because
it's amazing.
Dedicated to her.
Amazing. And you know, you do look into her eyes, and they say also the eyes are the window of the soul.
Yes.
I was wondering that so much has been done since its inception. Would you please share some highlights of how the ACT Foundation has alleviated the suffering of helpless children, women in crisis, and the forgotten animals around the world? We'd love to hear some of the work that ACT Foundation has done. I know it's a lot and you can't say so much on an entire podcast, but just give us a hint of what you've done, because I know that the viewers and listeners will want to go to your website, and we'll share that information in just a little bit. So please share a few things. Would you please, Debbie?
Okay, so what we focus on is that we are active in 5 areas: providing food, shelter, hygiene items. Then we are active in the environmental area and education. So empowerment through education, skill training, and so forth. So in different areas we are active, and very often we start with food, because when people are really hungry and you come to them with talking about something else, they don't receive, you know, they first need to be fed. So a food donation is now, we have a kind of platform within ACT called ACT4UKRAINE. They focus only on feeding. And the only rule that we have is non-violence. So we have kind of become appalled by the suffering the animals go through at the meat industry and dairy industry. Like a dairy, the cows are raped, their children are taken in front of their eyes, and they're continuously, milk is taken out in a very violent way with a lot of pus and hurt on the breast, and overall it's become really like a Holocaust. So we don't want to support that. So when we donate food, we donate only vegan food or plant-based, because we believe that all nutrition is there. One just needs to change the mindset and also not turn the blind eye to the suffering of other beings. So we have ACT4UKRAINE. Now we're starting also ACT for Animals. For people who really love animals, they want to set up animal shelters or support the existing animal shelters. We also very often support smaller organizations or groups that are not funded by the government, but really just adopt abandoned animals, or really do their best. There's also one dog shelter in Serbia that we were really touched by, because a woman who is a professor and some previous ambassador's wife, so somebody who was in the hi-fi lifestyle, and she chose to run this dog shelter, and she has 300 dogs. You cannot imagine when you go there, and if it's been raining and the mud and these dogs barking, and how tough it is to handle this with no secure funding and no guaranteed help. There are volunteers who sometimes come, but the amount of work with 300 dogs, and I was really inspired. So we had continuously supported this dog shelter. And then, important thing in charity is to be practical and to be innovative. When we came to her dog shelter, we noticed that there's just so much of issue when it rains and becomes muddy and all the dogs become dirty and it smells. And so what we decided to do is to bring we can't really make an asphalt, but it's even not good, because what she wanted is to have like little stones and just make I don't know how you say it in English, so it's like cover the entire area with stones. And this small stones, when it rains, the water will still pass between the stones and go into the ground, so there's no flooding, and at the same time there's no mud. So to get this whole thing done, we didn't have much support. We just organized the truck, we bought the material, we were shoveling ourselves literally through this, and it's just been amazing. So I'm just gonna find this photo. See, this is the one. This is the photo where we just a handful of us, we really had sore muscles. Honestly, it's been tough, like when you're trying to get all this done. And but what a sense of accomplishment. Like at one point we really felt like, wow, yay, when we did it. This is the photo. There was one girl. You can see this is the entire payment that we made.
Wow, that's a huge run. We call it in the United States, we call it a run.
It took us some time. We were working like for days, and really, as I said, had sore muscles, but we were so determined we're going to finish this. And now these dogs are just having a different life. It totally changed their reality. So I was really, so it's just an example of how we can change something. Okay, here it is, how it looks like. See, this is before. Look at that mud.
Look at that. That's amazing. Can you imagine the love that woman has to be able to put her heart and soul into taking care of 300 animals?
300, yeah. It's just really inspiring. She says sometimes French people who love animals, they sometimes come and bring food and some medical kits and whatever is needed and some money, but she doesn't have any guaranteed donations. And sometimes she's really struggling from month to month. And even in her room, 2 sick dogs sleep with her. She doesn't even have peace in her own room. She's so selfless. I was really inspired. So this is just one example of what we do. In India, for example, we continuously support one other shelter like this, and there's a lot. You can see here when we visited another place where they adopt animals. We played for the first time in our life. We played with pigs, and that was just unbelievable. Like, I've never had this experience. But you tend to see when animals are not kept there for slaughter, you tend to see them in a new light. All of a sudden you see them as the beings that they are. So I was really impressed with this. And then they adopt these old horses who are no longer capable to be ridden or carry anything. And here's one, I'm giving apple to this horse, and I just love this photo. It's one of my favorite. So this is a family started a center for abandoned animals, and whenever they hear that they want to kill an animal because it's just useless, they said, don't kill it, we're gonna adopt it. So they have all sorts of animals in there. They're just different types of animals, even a buffalo and a bull and a horse and pigs and and dogs, cats, this one, that. So many of them. It's just been amazing. Okay, so that's that. And we do so many different, then we have crisis. For example, here we had an earthquake in Croatia. That was last year. Oh my God, you would expect that the government would organize immediate relief. By the time you get all these international agencies and stuff going, these people are in really big trouble. So our volunteers, we just have a couple of people, but they were ready to go with their car into the mud to get, there's like rubble, mud. It's just insane. And they went in there and they were donating whatever the people said they need the most, So some of them gathered in a bigger hall. They needed heaters, they needed tents, aside from the food and hygiene items, So it's really important to always respond fast, to have that personal contact, to just, we never send money. We just go right there and we deliver, we like to find out what they need the most, and we go, we buy it, and we deliver into the hands, because when you send money, very easily it can be mishandled and goes into the wrong hands. So that's one of our rules, delivery straight into the hands.
It's very practical.
Yeah. And then another area that I'm really passionate about is kind of sustainable, something sustainable. So here's greenhouses in Peru. These are the Quechua tribal people in the area of Machu Picchu, and the kids lose teeth very early because they mainly eat only potato. They have different varieties of potato, but potato will not give you nutrition,
No.
It's not enough to just eat potato. Okay, you're not hungry, but that's not gonna cut it, So what we came up with is this greenhouses. So now this project is on greenhouses for the people in Peru, and it works really well for them.
That's amazing. Look at all the vegetables and everything they're growing now with the greenhouses. Do you?
So
have
we have
people who
partnered with an organization called Nexus Comunitarios,
Uh-huh.
and they connect us with the right people, take us to the most impoverished areas, So it's also important to open up to partnerships with the people who share the same values and are transparent and really do a great job. And right now the latest project is that we got 160 of their children, of these tribal people, and we are teaching them English. It's called English Helper. It's an app which is very affordable, only $40 per year per child. So the entire process of learning English for an entire year will cost only $40. And we have provided the projector and laptop, and one person who supervises the whole thing. The kids come together and they learn. And this app is really amazing. It's very effective. So again, Nexus Comunitarios, English Helper, and us, we are now making a difference in the lives in Peru.
Debbie, I happen to be an English speaker of other languages teacher. And I have a feeling that if we had that app here, it would, push me out of the job.
Okay, well,
that is amazing.
You still need a bit of that personal touch to,
really.
The kids will be naughty, they will not be organized. So somebody has to put them and say, okay, now everybody focus on this. So in the group setting, they still need a teacher, but the app really helps. Okay, here I want to show this amazing smile of healer, the main healer and the tribal leader of Yamanava tribe.
She's wearing an amazing headdress with feathers that look like they're about 3 feet tall around her. Her face is beautifully painted, 3/4 white. It is amazing. So tell us a little bit about her and her tribe.
Ukraine's glory hasn't perished, nor did its freedom. Upon us, fellow kin, fate shall smile once more. Our enemies will vanish like dew in the sunlight, and we too shall rule, brothers, in a free land of our own. Our souls and bodies we will lay down for our freedom, and we'll show